Hey guys, this is the video you should be watching on Wednesday. Your Wednesday videos will probably relate to review things. We have finished all of the parts of speech, but the ones we began with were a long time ago. And so I'm gonna give you some short work each week as we continue the e-learning on reviewing things, major things we've learned about the parts of speech. We began parts of speech with verbs. So I'm going to be on page 79 in your book. So if you want to pause me for a minute and get your book and turn to page 79. Okay, now the assignment that I give you, you may have already done. We probably went over these exercises in class. And so if I assign you an exercise that you've already completed, what I'd like for you to do, since we're reviewing, is to look back over your answers, look back over the information in your book, make sure you have the correct answers, make any corrections you need to make before you take a picture, and send it to me. I don't need you to send me an email saying we've already done this, as some students have done. I recognize that, okay? So I don't need an email saying we've already done this. What I need is a photo showing it to me, okay? As always. All right, so we're on page 79 in your book. Remember that verbs are the mainstay of any sentence. They are the most important word in your sentence. It is what drives your sentence. And that being said, you want to use vivid verbs that cause your reader to see a picture in their mind. Now, often we will resort to adjectives or adverbs to do that, and that's okay to use them. Remember the order that I've given you: verbs first, adjectives second, adverbs last. But it's better to come up with a vivid verb or even a vivid noun as your subject to drive your sentence. So you'll see on page 79 that it talks about action and linking verbs. Action verbs are always good and always preferred, but some of our sentences we just can't use action verbs in. So we have linking verbs, and this page does not have it on there, but you should remember that we have forms of the verb be. The form of the verb be: am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been. Those can function as verbs on their own, like I am a man, or they can function as helping verbs. I am walking the dog. Okay, so forms of the verb be can stand alone as the verb. They can function as a helping verb, or they can function as a linking verb. Abraham Lincoln was president. So it's linking Abraham Lincoln with president. So you need to make sure that you remember those little forms of the verb be: am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been. Most of them, with the exception of be, being, and been, are in the little orange chart on page 79 as a reminder for you. So when we look at those linking verbs, just remember that they can also be helping verbs, and they can also be stand alone in a sentence as a form of the verb be. So we'll move later on to what follows those, okay? But when you're writing, and we've been over this before, but just as a reminder, when you're writing, when possible, choose an action verb. When you're identifying the verb in a sentence, begin by looking for an action word. If you can't find an action word, then look for forms of the verb be, but always look for an action word first. And when you're choosing your action verbs, choose one that's vivid. Okay, I can say John walked down the hallway. And so you just get a picture of John walking down the hallway. Or I can say John scooted down the hallway, John ran down the hallway, John lumbered down the hallway, John strolled down the hallway. And if I choose other forms of the verb rather than walk, you're going to get a different picture in your mind of what John is doing. If I say John scooted down the hallway, you're probably going to see him sitting down for some reason, scooting on his butt down the hallway. Or if I say John lumbered down the hallway, you may see that he's limping in some way. Or obviously if I say he ran, then you're going to get a different picture. So action verbs, vivid action verbs, give us different pictures in our mind. So the more vivid, the better. Okay, so that is what page 79 reviews, is the action verbs and the linking verbs. And again, you may have in your book all the exercises on 79 and 80 completed. And if you do, that's fine. And when I make the assignment, before any of you email and say, do we have to do the apply and write? Yes, that's probably the one that you may not have done. So when I tell you to do the exercises on the pages, I want everything on those pages completed. Okay, so review here for the action verbs and the linking verbs. And then I'll have on RenWeb your assignment, but it will involve doing all of the exercises on those on 79 and 80. If you have done them, looking back over them to make sure you have everything correct. All righty, that'll be it for today. Have a good day.